What's up, everybody? We back with Catching Up with Coach. We have David Lagamba here. Let the people know who David is.
Hello, this is Dave Lagamba. I'm the athletic director for the Millville School District, Millville Lakeside Middle School, and Millville High School. I've been at the school district for about, I think, 20 years now, and 15 of those years I've been the athletic director and supervisor of health and phys ed. And man, love my job, love being there. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate.
Awesome. So we're building a sustainable program. How hard is that, both on the middle school level and high school level?
I'll tell you what, it's very difficult to build sustainable programs, but I will tell you that the thing that helps out in Millville is that we have very good feeder programs that start at the younger levels, man. And if you check out our high school programs, the programs that have been successful over the last 10, 20, 30 years, they're the programs that have some type of feeder system leading into the middle schools, leading into the high schools. And, so those feeder programs are a major contributor to the success of our high school programs. And not just ours, like anywhere you go, that's a key to success. If you want to be successful and you want to be sustainable, you need to make sure you have those programs up and running in your community. And we are very fortunate because in Millville, we have those programs and we have good people running those programs. And I can tell you that the great thing that we have going on in Millville is that a lot of the coaches that are at those feeder programs communicate with the coaches at the high school level as well. And, when you have that communication, that's key. That's the key to running a sustainable or building sustainable programs. And we're very lucky, man. I got to tell you, the other thing is consistency in your coaching staff. Yeah. And, I can tell you now, like you look at our soccer program, our football programs, our field hockey programs at the lower levels. A lot of those guys that are coaching now are coaching back then or participated in programs and they've just continued that legacy. And, kids that continue to go through those programs come through our middle school and then back in through the high school. And it's kind of and then it recycles, man. And then people give back. And we're very fortunate in that aspect because, we have people that came up through the programs, participate in high school, and now want to give back at the younger levels. So
that's great.
Makes my job a little easier when it comes to making sure our programs are doing well and being successful. So plus and I'll say this right from the get-go, it really has a lot to do with coaches and and I've mentioned sustainable. We said. Consistency in the coaching staff. I'm very lucky. We have a lot of great coaches at the high school level as well, and folks that have put in some time developing their programs, and they're very passionate about that as well. That's it's something that is sort of common and throughout the city of Millville is that there's a lot of passion for I'll say passion for sports, but in the city of Millville, just a lot of passion for what people what people believe in. So we're very lucky in that aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So with that being said, what are some of the challenging parts of your job?
There's a lot of challenging parts of the job. I'll tell you, sports has evolved over the last, sports continues to evolve. It's evolving now as we're talking, but it is continually just evolves. And, the programs, back in the 60s and 70s, as they've continued to evolve through the 80s and 90s, one of the things that you see are one of the biggest differences that you'll see is kids specializing in a specific sport. Yep. Rather than, and every now and then we'll get a 3-sport athlete that had, that's earned 12 RC letters. But that's rare. That's very rare. Nowadays you get kids that are specializing in a sport. Yeah. And, and there's this there's this part of that passion that I mentioned earlier where, the kids are passionate too. So they're passionate about whether it's football or baseball. And they're so passionate about it is that they want to do it. They want to do that all year round, and their parents and guardians, they want to make sure their kids are happy. So they're saying, all right, hey, nothing wrong with that. And so I get that. I understand that. But I will tell you that I'm a firm believer that, it's good to dabble in a lot of different sports so you can, work different muscles, sort of grow in different areas.
That's right.
And I think that, as sports have evolved and kids have started to specialize in certain sports, what ends up happening is this mindset where, well, if I don't specialize in this sport too, when the season does start, I'm going to be in the beginning of the season while other kids now are in mid-season form.
Yep.
So it's almost like it's almost like you're caught up in this trap where, well, if you don't specialize in the sport, you're not going to be able to stay up the pace, but with the people that you're going to be battling out for those positions,
Exactly.
and they're going to have an edge on you. And I think in that mindset, it's like, I think that mindset is kind of, it captured people, and it's why I think a lot of kids have chosen to specialize in sports,
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though, every now and then, if it's usually right after a Super Bowl, and you'll see the stats on Twitter or on Facebook, and what they'll do is they'll break down the number of players that were on the Super Bowl teams, the two teams, and they'll say, here are the number of one sport athletes, here are the multiple sport athletes, and what you do see is the large number of those professional athletes that were multi-sport athletes. They didn't specialize. They did football and wrestling and football, wrestling, and track. They did football and baseball. They participated in multiple different sports. And I think I always find that stat when they send that piece out, I always find that interesting. And it's like, you just want to make sure people see this and get this out there. Because I think if that mindset can come back, that it's okay to play other sports, I think it'll help out immensely. One, it'll help out the overall athletic programs. Two, I think what you'll see is, I think what ends up happening when kids do specialize in sports, I think there's a lot of wear and tear on specific muscles.
Yep.
And those muscles don't get a chance. Those areas that they're working don't get a chance to recuperate and heal properly. And I think that's, if we can get back to where kids played multiple sports, I think you'd probably see a lot less injuries as well.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So
A lot of college scouts look for that when I talk to them. They like the multiple sport athlete.
Yeah. I listen. You're wearing a Temple. Every time I see someone wear a Temple shirt, I think of Raquel Armstead.
Yep.
And he was a phenomenal football player for us, phenomenal for Temple. And now he's playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Raquel Armstead was a great athlete too. I mean, he's a phenomenal football player. Yeah. But I'm not sure how many, I'm sure if you see him how he runs in a football field, you can easily equate that to he'd be a really good track athlete too. And he was a phenomenal track athlete for us, And I think that's the two go hand in hand. And that's what I mean. Just, you don't have to focus on just, you don't have to do football 12 months around. You could do football and then take a little bit of break, go do track, and I think, if we can get back to that where kids weren't specializing, they participate in multiple sports, I think it'd be good for the kids. It'd be good for the athletic programs. I think it'd be good at just in general, good as a whole for all people, for all of us, like the programs and the kids. So
it's the truth.
Yep.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
So what are some better ways to build with the community in the sports? I know I had a meeting the other day and we was talking about parental participation, especially as the kids get a little bit older, just keeping that connection with the parents in the community, in the programs. How can we find a better way to balance all that out?
It's tough. I want to tell you, I'm very, I'm always impressed with, when I talk with the guys at the Holly City Youth, the Holly City Midget Football League,
Mhm.
um, and I always find it amazing, the dedication that the people that are running that, the men and women that are running that, the amount of time that they're putting into it. And I know that we've had our meetings as well throughout the years, just to make sure, just trying to make sure we're on the same page and we're making sure that our programs are coinciding with the, kind of working together to build a decent football program in the city of Millville. And
Yeah.
I think that's important for all sports. And I think it's tough because nowadays, people, we live in such a go-go world where people need to work, and people nowadays are, those 9 to 5 jobs are sometimes, 3 to 12 or different hours. And sometimes it doesn't allow for parents to get involved with, coaching a program. But
Wow.
fortunately, I will tell you though, we got some really good people running these programs. And I think it's just a matter of, having faith in those folks that are running it. Making sure that we are reaching out to the community, making sure that, we are, as a whole, reaching out to the entire community too. You know what I mean? We have a lot of really good people in our town. And, it doesn't matter the sport doesn't, I can almost think of the people as I'm thinking of the sports, if I'm thinking about track club, I'm thinking up Raphael Craig. He does high school, but he's also got that youth track club up and running, if I'm thinking field hockey and lacrosse, Claudia McCarthy runs into my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've had our meetings with, for the Holly City Midget Football League. I know Rob Ennis has, ran it for many years before that. And, I think it's just a matter of just making sure we can continue, we're trying to make sure that we're reaching out to the community, trying to get the community as a whole to buy into all of our programs. And I think if we can do that, I think if we can get the city to understand, that all of our programs are out there for whoever wants to come out. I think that, I think that'll help us continue to be successful as an athletic program in the city of Millville. And I don't just mean at the younger level. I'm talking at the middle school and the high school level. And then, and then honestly, it's great to see kids go off to college and continue doing their stuff at the next level too. So, when these kids go off to Temple or go off to, different colleges, they're representing our school and they're representing our city. And I think that's important, and, it's pretty cool, when you have guys like Reichwell, or, I'm thinking of some guys now like Eddie Shockley, who went off to Villanova and did some great things there, Antoine White, who was at University of Albany. We've got some really great players that have come through and have, we have some really great talent in the city of Millville, man. I think it's just a matter of making sure we're doing our community reach to make sure that, we are getting these kids to come out for those programs at such a at a young age, so that we keep them interested in doing the right thing all the way up and through high school. And, it is great it is really cool when you talk to a young man and and they're letting you know that they're about to go off to a 4-year school, and part of that tuition is being paid for their athletic talent. And, that's any time you can get a little bit of money for whatever reason, you've done a great thing. So,
That's true.
well, we have some really good people in the city of Millville, some good talent. And I think it's just a matter of making sure that, we reach out to the entire community, make sure that we are reaching, that those folks, that everybody understands that, all of our programs are out there. Come and join it, whether you're interested in soccer, football, basketball, track and field, lacrosse, field hockey, you name it. We have those programs. Come and get involved. And wrestling. I don't want to forget wrestling, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that people don't understand. Like lacrosse, man, that's a fun sport.
Yes.
I wish
I'm going to tell you, man, it's a fun sport, man. I was fortunate when I first got here. I had an opportunity to coach girls lacrosse for, didn't know anything about it. Had an opportunity to coach girls lacrosse. And the two coaches there were Coach Gwen Pierce and Coach Claudia McCarthy. And Claudia is still there. And I didn't know anything about girls lacrosse. And, you know, the moment I get out there, learn a little bit about it, I'm like, this is a great sport.
Yep.
And man, I'll tell you what, the female student athletes in the city of Millville are phenomenal.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and that's not putting down the guys, because the guys are phenomenal too. But I'll tell you what, you know, you look at our girls soccer program, you look at our girls lacrosse programs, you look at our, you know, we have a lot of talented female student athletes, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm with you on that lacrosse thing. And, you know, we're hoping, we just started a boys lacrosse club. Last year was the first year. This year would have been the second year as a club. We're trying to get it eventually to be a sport. And, you know, one of Claudia McCarthy and Corinne Vate, one of our other coaches, they started running some clinics along with our high school coach for the club, Dave Kahn. And they've been running some clinics for, like, you know, for boys lacrosse, because we don't have that. We're trying to get that program up and running. Because I'm telling you, it's a great sport. It's a fun sport, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, because I know it's big up there. The one school that I really like, Syracuse.
Oh yeah. Syracuse is lacrosse is pretty big at Syracuse University. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's like you said, man, it really is a fun sport. Listen, a lot of training involved, a lot of talent, skill that goes involved with it. And when you work hard and you get it, you understand, though, all the little nuances, but it is a fun sport, man. It's fun to watch, and I'm sure it's fun to play at this point. I'm a little too old to be playing that game. But it looks like the kids are having fun when they're playing, though, man. So I agree with you. It's a great sport. And, like, that's what we're saying. Come on out. If you're interested in boys lacrosse and you've never played, go out to the clinics. Go check it out. You don't need to have any background in play in that sport. That's what those clinics are for, you know. Come on out. All of our programs are, you know, that's why I just want, you know, making sure people understand that, you know, throughout the community, all of our programs are open to everybody. Come on out, get involved. And if you don't know anything about it, if you think you'll enjoy it, go out. We got some wonderful people running those programs, and they'll teach you about it.
That's the truth.
You know,
stuff. Awesome stuff. So with the big picture as a whole, with a lot of the unrest going on in our nation, communities, you know, how do you think we can fix the community moving forward, create more solidarity?
Yeah, that's a tough answer, man. That's a tough answer. You know, a lot of, you know, we were talking a little bit before we got on today. That's a tough answer. You know, I think, I think, you know, I can honestly tell you, you know, the nice thing when you come to Millville is that it's very diverse. And I can tell you that I see that as a major plus for any of our kids that are going to go off into the world. Because, you know, when you come into the city of Millville, it's just so diverse. You need to get along with everybody in our city. You know what I'm saying? Everybody works together. Everybody gets along. And I think that's a bonus for our kids when they leave Millville and they go to other areas, because it's not just, you know, it's not one group, it's not one race, it's not one gender, it's diverse. And I think that I got to tell you, it's you know, that is a major bonus for our kids, that they understand that, you know. And we talked a little bit about the unrest that's going on now, and I think, you know, people being quarantined, and I think people, you know, there are folks that, you know, that have been, you know, quarantined enough. And now, you know, the major issue that just happened with that, you know, the George Floyd, you know, his unfortunate passing, and, you know, and we talked earlier, you know, there are people out there that are peacefully protesting, and it's, you know, they're doing the right thing. And then you see people that are, you know, taking it to a next level. And I'm like, you know, I can't answer for that, because I don't know what their frustration, you know, I don't know what all the frustration they've been dealing with. And, you know, being quarantined doesn't help, let me tell you, you know. So it's, I think, you know, when you combine those two, I think, I think what ends up happening is you get some real emotion. You get people, you know, demonstrating real emotion. And listen, I'm sure there are people out there taking advantage of whatever they can take advantage of. But I think I'm sure for the most part, you have people that are peacefully protesting, and you have other folks that are just showing real emotion and their their frustration. And I think I think the quarantine and being quarantined for a couple of months doesn't help out, because I think a lot of people were just like, it's all right, I'm getting out, I gotta, I've been a little pent up as well. So
That's the truth.
yeah, but like I'll bring it back to our town. I didn't grow up in Millville, but I've been here for 20 years, and I can honestly tell you that it's, I think that, our town is it's such a diverse town.
That's right.
And I really believe that serves as a bonus for our kids as they go off out when they choose to go out of here. They want to go choose to go to a college or go work outside of the state. I think that's an advantage for them, that they understand that the world is diverse. And I think that if you can work and understand that everybody has some positive qualities, and it doesn't matter who they are, what they are, if you work together, it's going to work out. So
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Man. Appreciate it, man. Because it gets hard, when you're put in such a position where you got to try to choose between black, white, right, wrong, and a lot of times you're not even asking for it, but, you have to kind of step up and try to, on the fly, make a rash decision on where do I stand, what kind of approach do I take, so it's so important to have allies and people on all sides,
It's true, though. You're right. And I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you this, from being in Millville for 20 years. Like I said, I did not that I grew up here, but 20 years of working here, I can tell you that, having an understanding that there's good in all people, and that if you're willing to work together, doesn't matter what your race, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're willing to work together, there are qualities that each of us possess that if we work together, you're gonna find some positive results. And I think that's why I can honestly tell you, like, it's a great. I think it's definitely a plus living, for kids that live here and come out of here. So.
That's right. Yep, appreciate you, man. It was David Lagama coming on with Catching Up with Coach. We salute you, man, for all that you do and bring to our programs.
Nah, you're the man. I appreciate that, all the stuff you do and all the people around you, and honestly, all the other coaches that have, that coach the kids before they give up to our high school area. We appreciate it. Let me tell you. So definitely appreciate it, man. You know that we've talked off the Zoom too. You know how I feel.
That's right, man. Appreciate you, man. Have a good night and good luck with everything.
Thanks, my friend. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Thanks.
You got it, JT. See you, buddy.
See you, man.
All right.